Welcome to Goofy Getaways with your hosts, Amy Blades and Amy Fisher.
Welcome to the Goofy Getaways podcast. We are so excited that you're here, whether it's your first time or you're coming back to join us again. I'm Amy Blades, CEO of Goofy Getaways, and I am thrilled that you are here. And I'm thrilled that we get to talk about one of my favorite topics today, which is club level at all Walt Disney World, Disneyland destination resorts. So I'm excited, of course, to introduce my counterpart, my other favorite Amy, probably my favorite Amy. I can't count myself.
Isn't that the way it works? We usually appreciate other people more than we appreciate ourselves sometimes.
Yeah,
but we're not going to get into therapy on the episodes. But hello, everyone. I am Amy Fisher. I'm our Vice President of Communication and Development at Goofy Getaways. And like Amy Blade said, we are super excited to invite you to this podcast episode. It's one of our favorite topics. It is about club level at the Disney resorts. So both Walt Disney World and Disneyland have club level options. We're going to explain kind of what does club level mean? What kind of perks do you get with that? And maybe some things to help you think about like whether or not this would be a right option for your Disney vacation.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of those things that once I experienced, now I don't like to go any other way. And that sounds so like pretentious, and it really, I don't mean for it to, but I think that you get spoiled by all of the things that we're going to talk about on the podcast today. It's definitely, a luxury way to go. It doesn't mean that you can't enjoy the parks without staying club level by any stretch. However, we're going to talk to you about why you should stay club level today too. So.
Yes, absolutely. So let's start first and let's talk about what resorts actually offer club level. So let's talk about Disneyland first because they have a shorter resort list. So Amy, which resorts at Disneyland offer club level?
Well, what's unique to Disneyland is that they technically only have 3 properties. Obviously at Disneyland, the good neighbors are considered, they really are more good neighbor because they're literally like right next to each other. But your 3 Disney hotels, right? Like Pixar Place, the Disneyland Hotel, and of course the Grand Californian. All 3 have club level. We can kind of talk about the perks of some versus the other, especially Disneyland Hotel. The club level isn't near every single room. So that's kind of an interesting, I don't know if it's a feature, non-feature, but if we're talking about Disneyland, it's those 3.
Yes. Okay. So now let's talk about Walt Disney World, and we'll show a list on our screen too for you all. But so if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see the list. But Amy, do you know the list? Or if not, I won't lie. I went and I had to write them down this morning because I was like, I wanted to make sure I didn't want to miss any.
A good test. So how about I will tell you what and then if I miss one, you let me know.
Let's do it.
I think I'm and I do like to say the word fortunate, very blessed that I've been able to stay at every one of them. So that helps a little bit. But you do have obviously your monorail resorts. So you do have club level at all 3 of those. So you've got the Contemporary, you've got the Grand Floridian, and you've got the Polynesian. Then you have Wilderness Lodge, which is also considered a Magic Kingdom resort, which is beautiful. We'll talk about that. And then you have Beach Club and Yacht Club. You have the Boardwalk. Let me just think of the other. Then the other, which is kind of unique because those are all deluxe resorts that we just talked about. And you do have the moderate, which I think is a hidden gem. And I've said it for a long time that the tower at Coronado definitely should be deluxe in my opinion. And their club level is beautiful and it's massive. So I know we'll talk about that as well. So Coronado, I think did I miss any of them?
You missed one.
I did. Oh man, I'm trying to think.
It's another deluxe resort.
How did I miss this? Oh, I don't know. I'm going to know it as soon as you say it.
Animal Kingdom.
Oh my gosh. See?
Yeah.
See? Oh my gosh. Yeah. How did I forget that one? Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So that's the list of all of the resorts at Walt Disney World. So obviously there's 3 properties at Walt Disney World that have club level, and then there are 8 or 9 that have it over at Walt Disney World. So quite a few different resort options.
They are.
So let's start to dive in and let's think about like what is included with club level, Amy? Like what are the perks of it? Like what is the reason somebody would want to book club level?
So one of my favorite things, and it just starts as soon as you get there. I mean, you check in at a different location, so you're going to get checked in faster. I'm not going to say that this is 100% of the time because I don't want anybody saying, well, Amy at Goofy Getaways said. However, typically, if we are checking in, and let's just say it's even like a noon or 1 o'clock time, typically your room will be ready. I'm not saying that is all the time, but you definitely are going to get a fast track to getting your bags checked in, to getting, you don't have to wait in a line to check in. Even if you do online check-in, I love the personalized service because check-in is where you're going to get to know that concierge club level staff. And so I think that's really important. And then you kind of get a rundown of the lay of the land. So obviously your check-in experience is included. My kids' favorite thing is that you can get, pop, soda, Coke, Pepsi. You can get unlimited amounts of that. You have coffee, you have water. It's just the beverage service. You have juices, Pog juice, which, typically you used to not be able to get anywhere, but like the food and the snacks and even the meals that they tend to put out. Usually it's like a really nice continental breakfast with a couple warm things. But at dinner, I feel like they do a really good job of trying to put some, and each resort varies. And I think it depends on the restaurants that are in those hotels. Because it's just kind of you get a different taste. It's not the same thing at every club. You also get, your spirits, like your wine and spirits. I love the kind of happy hour that is included. I think another thing that I love is that sometimes if you just want to decompress because it's hot or like it's been down here recently, cold, but you can go in and you can plug in and you can just kind of chill out without it being, if you're in a room that just has the queen beds, it's nice to be able to go into one of the lounges and just be able to sit down, have a little snack. A lot of times the view is absolutely stunning, no matter which lounge that you're in. Those are my favorite things. What about you? Mickey bars,
speaking of
I will
that,
say. Mickey bars.
Well, yeah. And speaking of that view piece, there are some of the lounges that the club level guests can actually see the fireworks. So like Polynesian is one, correct?
And it is beautiful. It's
so you could watch the
Stunning.
Magic Kingdom fireworks from your club level lounge. So you're not in a crowded space. You're there with your complimentary snacks and service. And
I would say with the Poly, the thing that's really nice, and it kind of depends which park is your favorite. I am a sucker for Magic Kingdom. I love the castle. I'm 51 years old and it's my favorite thing. So the Poly, I think, has the most beautiful view of the castle, and it's any view from where you're at in the lounge. There's not one view that's better than another. So I think that's a really good place to see fireworks for sure.
It's amazing. And you can see, for example, so Disneyland Hotel currently has a lounge as well. They're actually, they just announced that they're going to be building a second lounge at the Disneyland Hotel. That'll probably be coming in like a year or two. So
which is really,
when you see this podcast episode, please know that it's coming. But that lounge, you can technically see some of the fireworks too, if it's a fireworks night out there. So it is like a nice extra perk that people don't always realize, that it's like, oh yes, there's the lovely view piece of it. But let's go back and talk a little bit about the service that we get, right? You talked about the check-in. So sometimes like you'll walk up to the initial desk, and as soon as they recognize that you're a concierge guest, they're typically like, they're going to walk you to the concierge area at that point in time and escort you over. I will say, I think we've both had this happen most of the time, but not every time that we've stayed at a club level resort. Because I know I haven't always had it happen, but I would say the majority of the time that I've stayed club level, that has been the case. Is that true for you too?
I've had that every time. Someone has always taken me up, other than one time at the Contemporary. But other than that, and it was, they usually will take you and then give you a little bit of the scoop, like, hey, just so you know, this is where this is and this is where that is. And one thing to note too, and I want to make sure and say this, is that when you are staying club level, it is for you and the people that are in your room with you. It is
Mhm.
not for guests of yours, and especially sometimes that's because I think I've said before, in Orlando part of the time and in Michigan part of the time.
Yep.
And I have a lot of meetings where I will have people meet me at resorts if I'm going to stay on property for a conference, or sometimes meeting people for breakfast, whatever. But just a note is that if you are staying club level, you are not allowed to bring guests that aren't staying
Yes.
in that same space. So that's good to know up front before you
Yes.
get there.
Well, and even kind of a story along those lines, service related, was a backtrack with a thought process around that, as well, is that like if you're traveling with multiple rooms in your travel party, right?
Mhm.
That's what Amy Blades is referring to as well, is that like if one person in your party has a club level room but everyone else has a standard room, those other standard rooms cannot come up and visit you at club level. You can come down and visit them in the other spaces.
They can come to your
but they're
room.
not able to
They
come.
just can't go to the lounge.
Yeah, they just can't go, like, and they can't necessarily take advantage of like the concierge service.
Yeah.
But with that note, my parents and I were originally booked 1 or 2 years ago around Christmas time to go, and we were going to stay at Beach Club level. My parents got sick like I think 24 hours before we were scheduled to arrive. I still went because I was like, well, I'm there for work. I need to get content and all of that kind of stuff. So I still went and I did club level. And when I checked in, I went to our concierge service desk and just told them, I said, currently I have 2 other adults listed on my room. They're not going to be with me. However, I have a friend who lives local, Kayla.
Yes.
I said, who might be coming and hanging out with me. Could I just add Kayla to the room? Again, I did not have to go downstairs or do anything. They just immediately took care of it. Thankfully, Kayla was already linked in my Disney Experience account. And so like it took them 2 seconds. But so like those are the kind of services that the concierge desk can handle for you up at your club level area. They can help you with things like if you're looking for a last minute dining reservation. Not that they can guarantee to get you anything,
but they try.
But they can help you. They can help you look for that. I've heard them. Back when it was Genie, I've like literally heard them walking somebody through step by step how to book a virtual queue or how to book their Genie lightning lanes and those kinds of things. So like that, you're not going to get that, like you get good service at every Disney resort. Please don't misunderstand me. Like they're always very nice, but they just
more
go above
hands-on.
and beyond. Like it's
just
more
hands-on. Yeah.
Like, if you go up to the front desk at your regular hotel desk and ask them to help you book a dining reservation, they might like really quickly tell you where to go in the app. But that's the extent of it.
They're not going to get into
Versus
the whole.
up at concierge, they're like, well, let me call that restaurant and see if I can find a spot for you. Like it's just a different level. They'll help you arrange transportation if you need to get to and from, again, Walt Disney World thinking wise. Like if you need to get to and from the parks, they'll help with that piece. If you're in...
If you get in early
Disney,
and your room's not ready, they will take your bags for you, and then they will, and I love that. So you don't have to wait in line for, picking up your bags.
And
I love that.
And you can go relax and enjoy the lounge while you're waiting for your room to be ready. So that's another like really nice perk of it. One thing that is really cool at Walt Disney World is that if you're staying club level at a Walt Disney World resort, you can also get a minivan, okay, like MINNIE, like Minnie Mouse, my favorite, right? You can get a minivan to pick you up and drop you off at Orlando International Airport for your party, which I think is so, like if you want that special little extra bit of magic for your trip right out of the gate from when you land in the airport, they're going to come and pick you up right at the baggage claim area in like the priority pickup spot. Yeah. Not over where, you have to like
wait,
find an Uber. So you can like schedule that and they'll come and help you with all of that. So you can do the minivan back and forth to and from the airport. And you can only do that if it's club level. Anyone can book minivans on Disney property, but in order to do it to and from the airport at Walt Disney World, I think that's a really cool perk. And my clients have said that they really like their kids thought that was the coolest thing ever, that they were just like, that was so much fun for us to like walk up. And because it's literally a red, either a minivan or an SUV or something red with white polka dots on it. So it's like, it's clearly Disney. And it's just so cute. And the drivers are amazing, obviously. So
yeah. I think so. I think that's a good thing to mention because I've had people ask me that. They're like, "Well, I've seen minivans pick people up," and I'm like, "Oh, well, let's talk about upgrading you."
Yes, let's look at club level because
Yeah.
those are the only guests that get to do that,
Yeah.
which is
Kind of like when I
again,
try
a super
to,
cool park.
talk my husband into doing club level, and he's like, "I'm pretty sure that the ride back and forth." Yeah, we look at the cost of that. He's like, "You can Uber for cheaper," but yeah.
You can. It is an additional fee. I
No,
think
it's
right
all
now,
about the
right,
experience.
yeah. It's
all
just about the experience and how
experience.
special it is. And the great news is like minivans they'll know in advance what car seats you need, what type of car seat, so they make sure that that's all ready to go
Yeah.
for you. So, which
Just
if
an
you've
added level
ever
of service.
right, like if you've ever
Yeah.
traveled with little kids and you're like playing the game of like trying to get an Uber with car seats, right? And so it's like you just don't want that extra stress if you're looking for that added benefit and you're willing to pay the extra cost. It's one of those things. So
Yep, I agree.
I think that's really cool. Is there anything else that you can think of that the staff does, like concierge staff wise does?
Oh, I just think the way that take care of you from the minute you get there to the minute you leave, whether you're in the lounge, they're making sure that anything you want, you have. The way that they just keep everything picked up. I mean, more than finish a dish and they're taking it, but they do it with such grace and just that service. Do you know what I mean? And the way that they just talk and they want to talk about your day and and you have some people that don't want to talk and then you have others that do. And it's just a really great way to, I don't know, kind of feel it's like all encompassing, like just feel like you're kind of part of all the magic. They really care about if they're there in the morning and then they see you in the afternoon, like, oh, did you end up getting on Guardians? Or I just love the personal touch. To me, it's that personal touch and the level of service as far as honestly getting you if anything that you want.
Yeah. One of my favorite things too was like they start to recognize they try really hard to learn your name, not guaranteed that they're going to memorize every
They
person's
do.
name,
They
right?
try.
But they try really hard to learn people's names, but they'll at least remember like little things about you the longer that your stay is. So again, I was there for almost a week that December. And when I was there by like the third morning, I kind of had a routine of what I would go grab for breakfast. And I loved to get my pog juice. And one of the mornings, it wasn't like they were clearly refilling it when
Yeah.
I grabbed my items and went and sat down. And one of the staff people came over and they were like, oh, did you not get any pog juice yet this morning? And I told him, I was like, well, I said it wasn't out. I said I was going to keep an eye out to see if y'all restocked it. He's like, let me go grab you a glass really quick. And just went and grabbed it and like brought it.
Yes.
You know, and I'm like, just like those sweet little moments that like they've clearly paid attention to those little, and like, they didn't serve me pog juice the other days. So it's not like they had to pay attention to that and be aware of it. And that's just really, it just takes it from really good service to like another level, right?
It does. And we had made a comment about at the Contemporary, I love the bar inside Steakhouse 71, and they have an amazing drink that is pog juice, and then it also has vodka, and it's absolutely delicious, right? So my son, who's had just turned 21, had, when we were staying club level, mentioned the pog juice when they had gotten out the spirits for the night. And of course the pog juice wasn't out, but they made a point of kind of recreating that drink for him. So just the special little things, like they'd heard him talk about it the night before. And so then the next night they had it for him. So it's just those kind of little details that they pay such good attention to.
Yes.
So for me, it's just the service from top to bottom, from when you check in to when you leave to when you're in the lounge. I just think that service is impeccable.
I agree. I think it's amazing, which kind of leads us into, we've talked about some of these food items. So when you stay at a club level, whether it's Walt Disney World or Disneyland, there's going to be a club level lounge. Depending on your resort will depend on how close your room is to the lounge. So at some resorts, your lounge will be in the exact same building. Sometimes it might be on the same floor. Sometimes you might actually have to go from one building to another. It just kind of depends on the resort. So like we mentioned, Disneyland, they have one club level lounge at this point in time. It's in, I think, the Adventure Tower, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes. Yeah, it's under
So if you're
construction
staying
right
in
now.
a different,
Yes.
so if you're staying in a different tower, you have to travel to that
Correct.
which the buildings are not very far apart, people.
They're
Like, we're saying
not,
this is a long.
But it is good to know that ahead of time, because I have had clients that have not been thrilled about that and thought that they'd be fine with it. And then when they got back, they're like, okay, next time we would stay at the Grand Californian just because. And I'm like, okay. I mean,
Yep. Yep. So,
it's
or
not
at Pixar, where it's in the same building at
same
least.
building, right?
So, yeah. So, and that's the same thing at Walt Disney World. Like, for example, if you're staying at the Grand Floridian, the main tower building is where the club level rooms will be. So you're not going to be in one of the outer buildings, but it doesn't mean you'll automatically be on the same floor
Right.
as the club level lounge versus like Beach Club. It's a floor of the hotel, and that's where the club level rooms are. So just bear that in mind based on the location. But
Polynesian, I
if you
love
are-
that they have that separate building, and I love the way
Yeah.
that they have that kind of everything. You know, it might not be on the same floor, but everything is in that one
Yes.
building. I like that.
Yes. So when you stay club level, you get access to that club level lounge. The lounge is not open 24/7, just as a word of warning for people. It usually opens, it's going to depend on the resort, the time of year that you're there, some of those details, but usually it opens like 6:30, 7 a.m., right, Amy?
Yes.
And then it goes until like 9 or 10 p.m. typically, right around that time frame. Is that
correct? Kind of after fireworks, depending which location that you're at. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
'Cause my husband's he's an early riser, and one of the things he loves is to go in and get coffee. And so, I mean, I would say 7 o'clock is when they typically are open, but there are so many times that like by 6:30 he can go in and get a coffee. And
Yes.
that's another one of those things. Like if they know that you've got somebody, and I mean, my husband's up at 5:30 or 6 doing his little, walk, not little, you know, he goes for a couple mile walk every morning. And they start to notice that, like even after the first day, and then they'll say, hey, you want to go in and get your coffee? It's those little things that make such a big difference for people.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to ask for things when you're
No.
staying at the concierge. So
No.
I did the same thing. There was a morning where, don't tell me, but I was headed to the other Orlando destination. And so I just wanted a cup of coffee to like sip while I was trekking it across, but I needed to leave by like 6:45 or something that morning. And so I was like, can I just get a quick cup of coffee to go? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. And they, just
Put it
grabbed
right
me
in
a cup
that-
of coffee.
They do. And we do talk about that other place too. It's something, we're familiar with. We have a lot of clients that love it. And we will talk about that at a different time because
For sure.
Amy and I have stayed several times. And I do think there are differences in, for sure, that we would talk about. I think that Disney definitely knocks out of the park their
club
lounges level. For sure. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So typically at a club level lounge, there will be kind of like a set thing of snacks that are out as long as the lounge is open.
Yeah.
So that'll be things like I've seen Uncrustables, little bags of chips, the cans of soda, the things of pretzels. Those kinds of things are out all the time. Mickey ice cream bars, and if they're not in your little freezer, you can definitely ask for them because they have them. So those are out
all the time.
And then typically they'll have a continental breakfast from 7 to 9 or 7 to 10, somewhere around there. And again, each lounge is going to handle their hours a little bit differently, and what they serve will vary. Typically, the way that it works is that they'll have kind of a rotating menu, but you can see when you walk in, they're going to show you the menu for the day for all of the
which I love.
Meals. I don't want to call them meals because they're meant to be like hors d'oeuvres and light, but trust me, you can 100% make it a meal.
You can for breakfast and for the dinner time. I know it's not really dinner, but man, depending on where you're staying, they fill you up for sure.
I had some of the most amazing pork tacos at the beach club for, and it was meant to be an hors d'oeuvre. And I was like, I mean, they were little, so I ate like 4 of them. And I was like, boom, dinner. I'm done. This is fabulous.
You should see the pasta that they bring up at the boardwalk. And it's incredible.
Yeah. So, and they'll often use restaurants like Amy mentioned earlier, right, that are nearby. Yeah. So like if you love Boma or Sanaa over at Animal Kingdom Lodge, you are going to really love the food over at that club level. If you like the food that's over in the boardwalk area, then the club level lounges at Boardwalk or Beach Club or Yacht Club, those are all going to be like really good choices for you. At Polynesian, they bring some of the food items from Captain Cook's, is that the way I say it? They have some stuff from Ohana too,
they do.
right?
I was just gonna say, yes, they do. Sometimes I've had the pot stickers, I've had the noodles. Yes, it just depends. And then with well, you just said it, but at Citrico's, you can get at the Grand. So you had said that too, but I didn't want to pass that by because that's another one that
yeah. Can you get the strawberry soup?
I've never attempted to ask, but you know what? I might just ask next time and then I'll report back.
You should ask next time. That's one I haven't stayed at the Grand's Club Level Lounge.
Oh, it's just it's on my list. Been redone. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So there's food options that are going to be available for you. You can like take those things. I've also been able to like ask them, hey, can I get some water bottles to go to like take into the park for the day with your family? In fact, they like readily offer those if they know that you're headed out to the parks for the day. So like,
and I have my boys,
lots of good options and things like that. Which
you guys hear me talk about because to me they're my boys, even though they're grown-ups. But our middle son, Gavin, he's a big time night snacker. And a lot of that's because he's, works nights and then sleeps during the day. Well, he serves. So, of course, he's used to a much weirder schedule than I am. Yes. But I love
he's like
that.
2 a.m.
Oh, yeah. Normal. Like that's his awake time. So I love that that's another thing. They kind of get to know you and get to know that. And so usually they'll always say, oh, you want to take like a Coke or a Sprite or, and take a couple things and take your pretzels. So you've got your snacks in the middle of the night. It's those little things that they remember. But you can, if you're someone that wants just a little something in the middle of the night too. I love it. I just love that they say, here you go, take it. Almost like a little care package if you ask for it.
It's so nice. And then Amy started to mention this as well. They do serve alcohol. Obviously, you need to be over the age of 21 in order to be served. They do ID people. But you can, so they have a specific alcohol hour where it is clearly set out. So that is typically where they'll be serving like wine and beer, usually from like 5 to 9-ish type of a thing. But just so you know, you can also request alcohol outside of when it shows on there. So like if you want a pog juice mimosa for breakfast in the morning,
which
they will
Amy and I have done.
do that for you. Yeah. So you can definitely do that.
And they're generous too with the, not like I'm a lush. I mean, definitely not. But when you're staying somewhere or when you do order a drink, I want the drink. And sometimes you think if you're staying club level, they're going to kind of skimp out. No, they make you a good drink. Like it's a drink that you would get.
They have good service and things like that. And they can make some different, they're not going to be able to make you like a full service bar of mixed drinks, but they can definitely make you some good different options. And like I've had a couple of the wine options that they have there. Those are good.
Yes, I agree.
They have like an espresso machine and they'll have like a cappuccino maker and all that kind of stuff.
Chocolate.
And those are out and available. Oh my gosh. For some reason, Disney's hot chocolate makes me so happy.
It's better than anything. I love to get it before we go to bed. Like, stopping in the lounge before we go to the ring to get my little snacks.
I get my hot chocolate.
Well, we do. We kind of have our own little way. Yeah. Because a lot of times Amy and I will be gone all day and then we'll end up going and getting our snacks. And then it's just funny because you can even picture it. Like then we're both like sitting on each of our beds and we've got our snacks out. We've got our computers because then we're working for a couple hours and it's just kind of this whole thing that works for us. So
it's great. So again, there's lots of like food options that are included for people. I will also say that they do a good job overall with allergies. It's not going to be, it's not a restaurant. Okay. So it's not like you can go in and custom order everything. So please keep that in mind. But you can certainly let them know if you have any allergies or anything like that. And again, the staff is going to do a really good job of attempting to accommodate that as much as they can. And if you have like a more severe food allergy or, if you're like definitely can't handle any type of cross-contamination, you can let them know in advance of your stay and they can try to help you like make sure that there's some food options that are available for you during your stay. So Disney always tries to do a really good job with that.
They really do. They make it a priority. Yeah, I agree.
For sure.
I agree. Now you got me
Yeah.
sitting here thinking in my mind. Thinking.
Which club level you're going to stay at
Yeah, I'm
next?
like, I think I just need a weekend in club level.
Just a weekend at
Just a
club
weekend.
level.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Right? Like, so those are some of, that's like kind of the bulk of the concept of the benefits, right? Is that you get the access to the concierge staff. That's truly like the biggest thing. And then the club level lounge piece. It's really meant to create an elevated experience, right? A more luxurious experience, if that's something that you're looking for. So Amy, here comes the big question that people love to ask, and they're like, how does someone know if club level is right for them, or like is it worth it, is the way people love to word
and
that.
for me it's hands down it's worth it, but that doesn't surprise anybody.
No.
My kids will even say that it's worth it too. And my husband, who doesn't want to admit it, will say that you do get used to the service and you get used to having, you know, it's so silly, but just the snacks and the drinks and especially in hot summer days. Something that I love about Walt Disney World and Disneyland too, it's just they are all three obviously different, but specifically to Walt Disney World, I love there are different feels at different club levels. So I really try to talk to my clients about how they typically like to eat, what kind of service they like. Are they here because they want to be treated like they're normally used to being treated? Do they want to have a feel where they're going to be, more pampered? I just think that's what I love about the theming of these resorts, because the theming really does lend to so many other things and the type of feel. Like if I have people that are super chill and laid back, I mean, the Polynesian is always where I want to send them. If I have people that are very, and they know that they're a little more pretentious, which I mean, I have many of my friends, many of my girlfriends are like that. They definitely will only do the grand. And I know that if I have a client that would typically fit the Polynesian and like that laid back kind of thing, you just know where you kind of guide them. But I just talk about having the experience of staying at each of those. You can talk about the differences. I don't think that you can go wrong at any of them. Do I have my favorites? And then do I have the ones that we typically stay at the most? Of course. But how do you know if it's for you? It's going to be your travel consultant getting to know you and the way that you want to travel, the way that you live every day, all of those things, and really knowing those properties and knowing, is it really for you? I guarantee you that I can find anyone at Walt Disney World in particular, a club level at one of their resorts. No matter what
And it plays into similar questions that we ask any of our clients is like, okay, which parks are your priority while you're here? Because obviously different club level lounges are going to be closer to different parks, right?
That's like first thing I always ask.
For example, I love the boardwalk area. So Beach Club, Yacht Club, Boardwalk, those are my go-tos because for me, I spend a lot of time at Epcot. I love that it's so easy to get to Hollywood Studios. I love that I can walk through Epcot and hop on the monorail to Magic Kingdom. So like for me, that's super convenient. And for me, I don't like taking Disney buses. Coronado Springs, yes, it's a moderate resort, so it's a lower price tag that has club level. But the fact that if you don't have your own vehicle, the fact that you have to take a bus everywhere is not my favorite. So
same thing with the Animal Kingdom.
And these are conversations that your travel consultant would have with you to help you decide which resort is going to be the right choice for you, whether you're staying club level or not. Like that's an important conversation that we always have with our clients is we're not just going to pick a random willy-nilly and be like, you should stay at this resort. Like we're going to have a conversation with you to better understand what you're looking for. Like what's your priority of this trip?
Disagree with us, but I know you've heard me say this since you started. I always say I do feel like the resorts definitely lend to different aspects of your trip, where some people will say my resort just absolutely does not matter, and I'll be like, but it does. Even no matter what level you're traveling, I still have clients like for value resorts. There are some that would work better for some than others. Same thing with like all of them. I think that your hotel just the ambiance, the feel, the decor,
Yes.
the location, all of those things are important. Even if you're someone that is like, look, we're just going to get up in the morning, we're going to go and come back at night. I still think there's something to be said
still
for
have
the
to
resorts.
sleep there.
Yeah.
Like there's still that
You
piece
do.
of it. And that kind of leads into, right, like people always wonder, they're like, okay, if we're going to be in the parks all day, every day, is club level worth it? And I think from you and I, both of our end of it, I still say yes, because a lot of
100%.
times, even if you're getting ready to go and rope drop, you're still going to be able to grab quick breakfast in the quick service. You can skip quick service is what I was attempting to say in my
Yes.
sentence all blended together.
Yes.
You can skip quick service and go grab your breakfast in the club level lounge. You can have your lovely cup of coffee to go and sip it while you're waiting for your transportation, or while you're, again, I'm staying at
Where
Beach
we
Yacht
walk.
Club, and I'm walking over to Epcot, so I can leisurely sip my coffee or whatever in the morning to walk over there.
But a nice
And then when you
leisurely
get back
walk
from
to the
the parks
park for
at-
Amy is like a normal everyday thing. Some of us need a bus ride, Amy, before we have to walk at the
That's
parks.
great. I love that for you.
Oh, it's funny.
But the thing is, like, people think that they're like, oh, I'm going to be in the parks all day. And I think, again, as a travel consultant, I advise this to almost every one of my clients, no matter what type of property they're staying on. I'm like, please take a break at some point during your day.
Always build that
Go
in for my
back
clients.
and rest in your resort. Even if you don't do it every single day, but like 1 or 2 of the days, oh my gosh, please go take a nap, go just sit down, maybe go play in the pool. And so again, if you're taking advantage of those recommendations that we have to take a break during the middle of the day, if you're going back to your resort in the middle of the day, guess what you're going to be able to use if you're staying club level? Oh, your club level lounge and your concierge staff. So like just lots of little perks that come along the way, that even if you think you're going to stay in the parks from open to close every single day, which by the way sounds exhausting.
Dreadful.
As somebody who is a go person,
Oh man.
I still don't really recommend that for most people. I'm
I
like, please
know.
take a break. Don't rope. I tell my clients, I'm like, please don't feel like you have to rope drop every single day. Like, yes, if you're rope dropping, here's tips of where to go. But like, oh my gosh, please don't
I
rope
think
drop every
because
day.
we grew up with like, and my husband is a go, and having the 3 boys. And it's so funny because that is how we always did Disney up until, I don't know, maybe even like 5 years ago. Like that was just, you get up and you go, and you hit everything. And yeah, it's funny because now I'm like, oh no, I got to go back and take my nap. And that's not fair. I will say, like when our boys were little, I always would take them back for a nap so we could continue to go. But the thought of rope drop for me is like, I'd rather get up, go to my little club level lounge.
Funny story for all of our listeners. Okay, we
No.
obviously do a lot of agency trainings and we have traveled lots, and what we often do is we'll go to different destinations and we try to rope drop, because as a group, we will try different rope drop strategies. And my favorite is when Amy Blades the night before will be like, I'm going to rope drop with you all. And sometimes we, not truly, but like we make joking bets that
Everyone
we're like,
knows Amy Blades is not a morning person.
like, will Amy really show up for rope drop in the morning? And I remember there was a Disneyland training.
And I surprised
And she showed
everybody.
up. I do think it was because Chuck was with you, if I'm being fully transparent.
Probably was. And everyone was like,
But, like,
what?
She was there every single
And
morning for road
I
drop.
was there.
And
I was
like,
ready. I was ready
She
to
was-
go.
one of the mornings she beat me to the rope drop spot. I was like, whoa, Amy Blades, I am so proud of you.
Yep.
So
I think I
proud
might
of
have
you.
even sent a message and said, I'm here, but where are you?
Yes. So like that's a funny story about Amy Blades and rope
Yeah.
drop, but
And mornings.
she does do it
and-
for sure.
Yeah.
So
but you're the one that gets stuck with
mine-
me the most. So that's why you've learned all the quirks and then.
And we love it.
Yeah.
I do. Okay, so another question that comes up related to club level that I want us to address briefly is people ask, if you have club level, do you still need the dining plan?
Yeah. And I will say, I personally have mixed feelings on this. Probably not what Disney wants to hear us say.
But we're going to be honest with
But
you.
we're going to be honest. I think if you're saying club level, you don't need the dining plan. It will, what you are going to spend, like the upcharge. This is my personal opinion. This is just for our family, what has worked. I'm not saying it doesn't work for others, but we really like to have just one really nice meal a day when we're traveling. So typically we will still do, whether it's going to be a lunch or maybe a dinner, but honestly, with what they provide, I don't think that you need to have the meal plan. That's my honest opinion. Someone else could have a different opinion, which I would respect, but I just think that if I'm going to spend the extra money, I would, like, if you have a certain amount, I would put it towards being in a club level room instead of the dining plan, personally.
Yep. So mine is a little bit of a twofold answer on that for people, is that it depends on how much time you anticipate that you're going to actually be at your resort. So, right, we talk about taking advantage and taking a midday break and that kind of stuff. But let's be honest, some of our clients don't. They're like, we're going to Disney once, we're going to be there for a week. We're, from when we come to when we go. Club level is still very valuable for those clients, and I still think that it's a good product for them, and I have clients that book it. And if my clients want to do character meals, I still recommend the Disney dining plan for them, because they'll do their character meal in the parks, and they'll probably still have a quick service dinner in the parks, but then they end up coming back to the hotel at the end of the night. And they get their snacks at the club level lounge. They have breakfast in the lounge in the morning before they go to the parks. So in that instance, if you're like, yeah, we're probably going to be in the parks most of the time, it's probably still valuable for you to have the Disney dining plan. Because most people don't realize that it depends on what type of trip you're taking, right?
But you're doing a good job of explaining it. Like, if you're just going to kind of go chill in and out and that kind of thing. But I will say, where I do recommend the meal plan for every client, no matter where they're staying, is if they want the character meals, because I do think that that's the most cost effective way to do it.
And people don't realize that, like, you don't have to, people try to play this game to like beat the dining plan, and we can do we'll do a podcast episode at some point in time about the dining plan. I don't think you have to do anything to try to beat it. Like, truthfully, especially if you have kids on the dining plan, the rate per night for them is cheaper than what you would pay for even one character meal. So
yes.
Again, if you're doing any type of a character meal, it's such a good value in that type of instance. So if you're planning on spending a decent amount of time in the parks, you want character meals, the dining plan can still definitely be a good value for you, even at club level. In Amy and I's cases, right, if I'm going and I'm staying club level, I'm going to be taking lots of breaks and going back and chilling at my hotel, because I don't need to go ride every ride because I've already bidden them. So that's one piece of it. But the other piece of it is that Amy and I are also annual pass holders. So that means that when we don't have the dining plan, we actually get discounts at table service meals. So if I book a character meal for myself, I can get, it's not much, like it's like a 10 to 20%, depends on the restaurant, but it's still a little bit of a discount. So I'm like, I don't necessarily need to add the dining plan for myself if I'm staying club level. Right. Because of that side of it. If you are like, hey, we're going to be chilling at our resort the majority of the time, and we might just eat one nice meal out around lunchtime or dinner each day, and you're staying club level, then you probably don't need the dining plan. Right. So that's why, again, it's so important to have that conversation with your travel consultant, so we can help you decide, because we're not here to just make you pay for the upgrade on everything. No. We're not. Like, we're not trying to make you spend unnecessary money. And I realize that it might feel like it when we're talking about things like club level. But the truth is, when people ask, they're like, what's the best value? Or what's the best time to go to Disney? And I'm like, you do realize that the way to answer my best vacation might not be your best vacation.
Exactly.
And so travel consultants are trained and equipped to help you figure out what your best vacation is. I'm not going to book you my best vacation. I'm going to book you your best vacation, right?
And that's when you know you have a good travel consultant too, is they're going to ask you those questions. And you have to remember, and this is something that I teach, from the very beginning, you're booking a trip for your client. You can say, look, these are the things that I like, or these are the things that work for me. Or when they ask for suggestions, however, you need to get to know exactly what your client wants, because you're planning that trip for them. It's not for you.
Exactly. So, and I would say that if you're listening to this podcast and you're somebody who is considering a Disney vacation, you don't have a travel planner or anything like that. This is why we say, I'm not saying like Facebook groups are bad or anything like that, but be wary with your best friend who took a vacation 10 years ago to Disney and is telling you, we loved this about our vacation. Not that they didn't have a great time. I'm sure they did. And I'm so glad it was magical. But things change. And just because it was their best vacation doesn't mean that that's the right option for your best vacation either. So, and that's what travel consultants, travel agents are designed. I don't care what travel agency you're looking at. That's what we're trained to do.
Exactly.
Right? Is that we are designed to look at it and go, what's the best thing for your vacation? So if you are somebody that you're like, when I fly, I like to go to airport lounges. When I travel, I want that type of concierge level service. Then great, we need to have a conversation about club level at Disney so that you get that experience. And if, and again, we book lots of clients at value resorts as well.
And then they have an amazing time. That's the thing that I love about Disney. We're still going to mold that trip so that that's going to be your club level experience, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's the perks of us having information and knowledge that you don't. That's why you use a planner, because we want to make sure that every trip, no matter what your price point is. I mean, I can sit and talk to you about club lounges all day, but I will tell you that when I first started going to Disney, I mean, we had a very, very limited budget. And so I take that very, very personally when I'm booking trips for people that are like, this is a once in a lifetime thing. This is what my budget is. And I want to make sure that I know we're talking club level, but we're going to give you the club level experience. Can you hear my dog barking? This is the perk of podcasting from your home office. Yeah. So, okay, there's only one thing that's going to quiet this puppy down. So give me 1 second.
Y'all, we live and breathe for puppy content. Let's be transparent.
Okay. So this is the sweet culprit. That face. Look at that face.
Baby.
Look at, she does not like when Mom is in my office and the door is shut. So she's making a little noise. So I apologize.
Well,
now she's camera
but she's
shy.
So cute.
She's camera shy. Yeah,
but she's very friendly. She's so sweet.
Okay, come on. Now quiet down. All right. She's like totally just outed me.
All right, I think that means that it is time for Amy's All In. So we've talked to you about the club level experiences. This is probably going to come as a massive shocker to you all, but our Amy's All In, just in case you're new to the podcast, Amy's All In is where we share something that we are all in about, something that we're like, we love this. Maybe it's usually related to something that we're talking about that day. But we're going to share what each of us think. And sometimes it might be different. Sometimes it's the same. You just never really know.
Yeah.
But we're going to share with you today.
I think ours are different, but I don't know. Because we've talked about this. I do
think ours are different.
Because this is something we talk about a lot, because I can't help it. It is like my favorite thing when I'm at the park. And I even living here, I will go spend a weekend to do my all in. So I do think they're different, but for different reasons. So yeah.
So all right. So our Amy's All In today is we're going to say which club level, because obviously we're both already in on club level. We very much think that it's a valuable product and service that we like to utilize. So we're going to say which club level, and it could be at Walt Disney World, it could be at Disneyland, but which club level are we all in on? Yeah. So Amy, which one are you? I think I already know.
Believe it or not, the thing that's hard for me on this is that I do have some sentimental ties to the Contemporary Lounge, just because of Sarah, who everyone then hears us talk about. Sarah was a huge part of our life and a part of the agency. And our last club level experience that we had was with her at the Contemporary. And we were able to watch the fireworks because she was in a wheelchair and she couldn't do it any longer. So it's like, that in my mind is like this special thing. So that's because it's I don't know, there's something about seeing the castle outside of your door watching the fireworks. So because that's sentimental, I feel like I have to at least mention that, because I feel like I'm kind of like, going against that when I say my favorite for me and Chuck and our family too, though, hands down, is the boardwalk. The location, I love the lounge. I feel like it's large. There's space. The staff is incredible. The food is amazing. I love being able to walk. Like Amy said, we tend to go to Epcot quite a bit, being able to walk there. But for me, the feel of the boardwalk, and when you go there, they take you up to a different floor, and then you can sit down with the concierge, club level, whoever your host is for the day, and they go over everything with you. And it's just the overall feeling that I personally feel at the boardwalk. It's my absolute favorite. I'm all in. I'm all in on the boardwalk.
All right. Shocker. So full transparency, I have not stayed at as many of the club level lounges as Amy Blades has. So I have stayed at Beach Club. I have stayed at the Contemporary. I've done, and then over on the West Coast, I've done the Pixar Place and I've done Disneyland Hotel. So those are the 4 that I've done. Out of those 4, my favorite is the Beach Club. Again, I think that's partially due to the location of the hotel, but honestly, the service that I received there, not that the service was bad at the other places, please do not misunderstand or misconstrue this anyway. Every single time I've had excellent service, but the 2 times I've done Beach Club twice now, and both times that I've done Beach Club, the service is just above and beyond excellent. Like that was the one where they noticed on my 3rd morning that I didn't have pug juice. And they were like, oh, do you need a pug juice? That was the one that like when my friend Kayla came and stayed with me, and they were just like, oh, super easy for us to change. And they actually like partway through, because I had let them know, I was like, my parents are sick, they're not coming. And partway through, they were like, how are your parents doing? Are they feeling okay? Like just
they genuinely make a point of
little extra touches.
Yeah.
I like, again, not that the service has been wonderful at the other places that I've stayed, but there was just something beyond about how they provided service and truly like showed that they cared when I stayed at Beach Club. Yep. So, and by the time this podcast goes live, I will have stayed at the boardwalk at their club level. So I'm excited to try it.
She's going to change her mind. She's going to change her mind.
Because Amy, so fun fact for you all, Boardwalk is actually one of my least favorite deluxe hotels, because in order to do any dining at the boardwalk, you have to fully exit the hotel and go down to the boardwalk.
Yes, because it sounds you're on the boardwalk.
This sounds so snotty, but like if I'm going to say this on an episode, it might as well be this one. Okay, I don't think that if you stay club level, I don't like exiting the building and walking out in the rain or the elements to get to my food. Again, this sounds very pretentious.
It's all about the experience.
It's why I like Beach Club. It's why I like Yacht Club, because I can stay inside the hotel or undercover to get from one location to the next. So Boardwalk, you have to exit in order to go down.
You can walk down a covered outside hallway. Well,
so it's just, like you have to, but whatever. So, but at the lounge, obviously you don't have to exit.
No, you do not.
To go to the lounge. So I'm very excited to try the club level there.
I'm excited for you to try it.
All right. Well, if somebody wants to book a Walt Disney World or a Disneyland vacation where they could go and experience club level, Amy, what do they need to do?
Hey, remember that you need to reach out to Goofy Getaways because our services are complimentary. Yes, you heard that correctly. Our services are complimentary. All of our experience, all of these little tips and tricks that we're talking to you about, you get those for free when you book a package with us. So reach out to Goofy Getaways. You can do that by checking out our Instagram or our Facebook, our social media. Those are our social media platforms, which are Goofy Getaways. And you can check out www.goofygetaways.com, which is our website, which you can get on there and kind of look around, pick an agent. You can request a quote. You can call us. We also have our office phone number there. Lots of different ways to get in touch with us. So there's like no excuses for not being able to to reach us. And then you can also email info@goofygetaways.com. We'd be more than happy to give you the tips and the tricks to whatever your club level looks like experience. So.
Right. Like we said before, we want to help you book your best vacation. So we're not going to give you the same advice that we might give your neighbor. We're going to personalize it to what you need and what you want. And we try to do the same thing with this podcast. We're trying to provide you the information that you feel like you need and you want the most. So we would love to hear from you. What do you want to hear on future podcast episodes? What do you like? What don't you like? Like I said, we can for sure talk about things like the dining plans at Disney and help you better understand those. But if there's something that you really want to hear about, please drop it in the comments. Send us a message on social media platforms. Like, save, share, all of the fun details. But we're
Yeah.
so excited to continue to talk to you about all of these fun topics and things like that. Our next episode is going to be a little shift. It's not going to be a Disney episode because, Amy, you're doing something new. Do you want to give us a little hint on what you're doing? That, like, the episode that will come out at the end of March?
Kind of an adult-only experience. Luxury on the water.
Okay. Let's leave that at that little teaser. But be sure to subscribe, like, save, and share because you are not going to want to miss that next podcast episode because there's going to be some really fun details for you if you are interested in adult-only experiences.
And I might have a guest with me. You never know.
This is true. There is a very good chance that we're going to have a guest lined up for that episode as well.
Could very well be. So, all right. Well, as always, we thank you for taking the time to buckle up. You're still buckled in and listen. We're having a lot of fun doing it. So thank you for indulging us. But as usual, we will see ya
real soon.
If you liked today's episode of the Goofy Getaways podcast, please like, share, and subscribe. And remember to follow Goofy Getaways on social media so we can lead you to the magic.